getting closer, everybody. What is getting closer, you might ask? Well, each and every passing day, the closer we get to having to say goodbye and close the chapter that was Persona 5. Fuck. Yes, we still have some content left, such as Persona 5 Strikers / Scramble. Technically, that game isn't new anymore. I mean, that game's been out for a while in Japan. It's just at the West, aka where I live, is barely getting it this February of 2021. So yeah, it's not really a new, fresh game that's barely coming out. It's been out for a little bit. And there might even be a Persona 5 Arena in the future. But other than that, I don't really see what else is left. I mean, if I'm missing anything, please let me know in the comments below. But yeah, I don't really see much left for Persona 5 in general. But yeah, sad as it kind of makes me to already be thinking about saying goodbye to our fandom thieves and just that game in general. I mean, if you saw my my video on Persona 5 Royal, that's on my channel, you'll know how much that game means to me. Like, Jesus Christ. Regardless of how sad that might be, I thought it would be fun to share with you guys today what I'd like to see added in or improved on in Persona 6. Now, we're not gonna get Persona 6 at least for another several years, but I figure I think it's reasonable to say an announcement is at least kind of close, right? I think so. Seeing as Atlus has a pretty nasty habit of announcing games way too fucking early. SMT5. But yeah, let's just talk about it today. I'm just gonna read you guys a little list I made of things I'd like to see. And yeah, if you guys have anything that I don't mention in this video, feel free to mention them in the comments below, just because I've always loved these kinds of discussions because I want to see what different people want to see added in a game such as Persona that does a lot of things right. So yeah. So for the first thing I'll mention is gender options. So the one and only game that, at least to my knowledge, that has given us the option to choose gender is Persona 3 Portable. Now, the way that they executed that wasn't the best. And I say that only because I know that Atlus was met with a lot of criticism in terms of how they executed the female role and the female route. Namely, for two things. One, you can actually stop a certain character from dying in that game. And that character dying, in the original plot anyways, was crucial and contributed a lot to the overall theme and message of Persona 3. And it even contributed to the development of two characters in Persona 3. So the fact that you could just prevent that death from happening when playing as the girl lead just struck a lot of fans the wrong way. I feel like they mainly did that to allow you to date them. I feel like you can't tell me that wasn't at least part of the reasoning for letting him live. I'm sure there was other things that they altered in terms of the plot, but I feel like that was the biggest one that I saw mentioned from some people. And yeah, and then the other thing, number two, which is kind of it's very interesting, is that, okay, so since you can play as the girl, right? Obviously you can date the boys, which is great, you know? The girls, you know, we gotta give the girls some love. The girl fans, I should say, in the fandom. Now, one of the boy characters in the game is Ken. This kid, he's 13, I think. Could he be younger? I think he's 13. I'll show the age on screen. You, the main character, if you choose to play as the girl, I believe is 16. I think that's how old you guys are. A lot of people didn't like how you could romance him, because when you rank 10 a social link of the opposite gender in Persona games, you smash. That it's hinted anyways. It's hinted that's what you do. Let's not tiptoe around that. And that age gap at that age, FBI, open up! You're 16, a 13-year-old. A lot of people didn't like that. So yeah, in Persona 6, what I'd like to see is just not to change the plot too much, just for the fuck of it, just because it's a girl character. That's if we have the option to choose between a male and a female lead. Just don't alter the plot too much. Keep, make it stick to its roots. Don't alter it in a way that holds back the theme of the story in any way, shape, or form. I'd also go as far as to say that I actually wouldn't mind not being given the option to choose gender and make it strictly a female protagonist. I wouldn't be against that at all. In fact, I think I'd actually be pretty excited to see how Atlus does with that. So yeah, I think that'd be fair, not always making it a male, give us a different perspective on things, perhaps, I don't know. So for my number two thing, give the MC a voice, like, please, for the love of God. I don't know if I'm alone on this. Let me know in the comments below if you guys agree or disagree. But I've seen a lot of people on Twitter anyway share this sentiment the other day, that they would actually prefer that the MC in Persona games to have voices, to actually have dialogue options, that the ones that you choose from when talking to friends and whatever. to actually be voiced by the voice actor. I know that the argument for making the protagonist silent is so that you can more easily immerse yourself in the game, to help you pretend that you're them, right? But if anything, in my opinion anyways, that kind of, it removes some of the immersion, because when you click whatever dialogue option you choose, it's kind of awkward just seeing them do this movement with their hand that kind of is meant to tell you that they're saying things. So like you'll click something for Joker to say, and then Joker just goes, like, he'll just do like some weird ass fucking hand movement. Ah, yes, immersion. I love that shit. Like, just voice him. And also Joker just had like a really nice voice. Joker had a cool fucking voice, especially like with those one-liners. Show me your true form. He had a badass fucking voice, okay? So yeah, I would have loved to have actually seen his voice actor actually read his lines, like all of his lines. But yeah, let me know if you guys agree with that. Coming in at number 3, please change the setting from always being high school. I want to see, I might be a little biased, but I'd like to see a college setting with a college student cast. I think that would be like, I don't know, I'd just be really interested in seeing how they work with that. I guess I'm just kind of burnt out on seeing like the stereotypical high school setting, not only in the Persona games, but in anime, for example, manga. It's always high school, right? 9 times out of 10. So yeah, I'd like to see, at the very least, a college setting. Yeah, I just think that'd be really nice. Nice little change up. Coming in at number 4, please, for the love of fucking God, change up from the traitor plot twist cliche. Persona 3 and Persona 4 and in Persona 5. Spoiler alert, yes, there's always a traitor. That always ends up being like the main twist at some point in the story. Like, oh, so you betrayed us this time in this game. Like, I feel like it's gotten predictable. So like, imagine somebody who's played since Persona 3, for example, and they saw this traitor plot twist thing both in Persona 3 and in Persona 4. So then when Persona 5 came around, they're just like, okay, who's the traitor in this game? So like, you already kind of know what to look for, just because it's so fucking overused. Imagine if they didn't change it up. So in Persona 6, we're all just gonna be like, okay, let's try and figure out who's gonna backstab us this time. I would actually like to see, and this is just me, the main character turns evil, you know, I put it in air quotes for a reason. They're not really evil, but you end up being or making yourself the enemy of your best friends, or of just everybody. You make everyone hate you, but that's how you save everybody. And how do you make that hurt even more? Throughout the entire like beginning of the game, in the middle of the game, before you get to the end, just make it so that you and your social links, your confidants, are just so close, like so close. Make these characters so fucking lovable, so that at the end, when you have to betray them or make them hate you for the sake of saving the world or whatever it is that this game brings, makes you do, it's gonna make it hurt so fucking bad. And then they find out after they kill you that you weren't actually evil, that you did this for the sake of them saving the world, because it was just what had to have been done. That would be, oof. I'd love to see that. I'd love to see that. Make it hurt so good. Make it hurt so fucking good. Number 5 is a pretty small one. Is it just have some kind of reference to the Phantom Thieves, or just Persona 5 in general. Just because Persona 5 did a really shit job with referring back to Persona 4. I mean, Persona 4 literally had you visit the high school of Persona 3, and I thought that was so cool. Like, when I played Persona 4 and, you know, the Persona 3 background music started playing when you visited the school on a trip, it hurt in a nice way. Like, it made me nostalgic. Meanwhile, you know what Persona 5 gives you? It gave you a fucking poster with Rise on it. Well, thanks. But yeah, and Persona 6, seeing as Persona 5 was just such a huge, massive success for Atlus, I'd love to see a more substantial callback to Persona 5 and Persona 6. Bro, like, I might actually cry. Like, if they actually like show a character from Persona 5. Man. Coming in at number 6, have the romances have actual impact / influence on the game and the story. The reason I say this is just because, you know, all the Persona games I've played, the romances felt less real than they could have been, since they really only existed when you actually hung out with said romance option individually, you know, as a social link. Like, you know, when you're going out on dates and shit with them and you guys are saying sappy stuff. Then all of a sudden, when that finishes and then it comes time to just, you know, continuing on with the main plot, you never really get a sense that relationship exists in that world. I think there was like one little thing that happened in Persona 5 where you guys are all sitting at a table, and I forgot who it was, Ryuji, I forgot, the topic of marriage came up, and then they ask you, oh, do you want to get married in the future? I mean, you're supposed to answer yes.
Marriage, huh? Do you want to get married?
Really? Oh, come on.
and then that makes the girl that you're in a relationship with react, you know, all flustered and stuff. But that's really it. But I mean, like, actually have some kind of impact in the story, where like it's mentioned or referenced to by the other members of your team. Since it isn't, it never really feels like you're actually dating them. It removes a bit of that immersion and said realism that the game offers. All right, so this next thing, have some gay romance options. However, I want Atlas to do it in a way, and this is my challenge to them, is to make it feel not forced and make these gay relationships and things feel natural and implement them in a tasteful way. Just because I feel like a lot of works of fiction, like for example in Hollywood, I feel like whenever they do try to incorporate some LGBTQ plus representation, feels like they just tack it on as an afterthought. Like it's kind of like somebody went like, all right, the said movie is done, you know what, let's put in some gay in there just because they'll like that. They just execute that aspect in a not a good way. I want them to actually put in some effort into making the representation tasteful. I feel like this would be just really fair in general, and a good first step towards more representation for the LGBTQ community. All right, so coming up next, I want to see more moments of social links hanging out with each other and not just revolving around you too much. The protagonist. I feel like, I don't know, I've gotten the vibe, at least from all of the Persona games that I've played, that the relationships of your social links, like your team, your confidants, whatever name you want to use, I feel like they're all connected via you, the protagonist. Sometimes it feels like as if they're not really friends with each other, and I kind of want to see that bond a little more so that it makes it really feel like a family. I'm not saying that those moments aren't there, like for example, like when the games have you go to the beach and everybody's talking with each other, or like when you guys eat out together and you guys are celebrating after a successful mission. If you notice, the protagonist is always there. I guess I just like to see more of the social links hanging out with each other only. You know, small little groups every now and then, and mix and match them, obviously. Don't just so for example, I'm going to use Persona 5 as an example. Don't just like stick Makoto and Haru together always just because of the same age. Don't have them be like obviously better friends with each other than they are with other people within the group. But yeah, but I understand for not putting too many of those scenes in there, because Persona as it is, like, they're already long games. If you were to add in too many of these scenes, then it would just make it more bloated, and nobody wants a bloated game. Next up, I wouldn't mind seeing Atlas retain some of the vibe that Persona 5 brought us in terms of like the UI, you know, the menu system. Obviously Persona 5 had a more powerful system to work with, so they just made that game look spectacular. I don't want them to think that they have to get rid of a lot of the I guess the comic book-esque vibe / designs that you would see when navigating the menus, for example, or the combat menu. I thought it looked it looked so beautiful, so I actually wouldn't mind if they retained some of those elements in Persona 6. I don't want them to feel like they have to toss it all out, you know? I mean, I just loved it so much. Obviously still make it feel like a new game, but yeah. And for the last thing I would really like to see in Persona 6 is higher rewards for playing on higher difficulties. So if I'm not mistaken, in Persona 5 and 5 Royal, if you played on safe, like the safest difficulty, that gives you the highest amount of money and the highest amount of XP. Now, obviously, I understand the reasoning for maybe wanting to give a boost to money and experience is just because people that play on the safe difficulty just want to chill. You know, they don't want to rage at the game. They don't want to get mad. They don't want to get stressed out playing Persona games. Some people just love the Persona series for the story that it always brings with each and every game. Some people just are like that. Hell, I'm kind of like that. Now, I didn't play on safe. I actually played on, I'll just go ahead and say I played on easy because I just wanted to experience the story. Everybody plays their games differently. And from what I also heard, if you played on higher difficulties, such as hard or merciless, you will actually get less money. Like the amount of money you get from beating enemies and also XP reduces as you get to that higher difficulty, which I found kind of weird just because isn't it supposed to be more rewarding? Again, I can kind of understand why. If you're playing on merciless, I guess you want the game to be at least kind of difficult and make you think a lot more, be more of a strategist. Not even in just how you fight, but also, for example, since you get less money, it makes you manage your money better. So you know what? If you're not gonna give the people that play on those higher difficulties more money, at least give them maybe something such as, you know, an increased chance of getting more rare items from enemies that they fight and defeat. You know, I think that'd be fair. Like if you're gonna put yourself through that hell, be rewarded for it. I see you guys out there, and I respect you guys a lot. I might be exposing myself right now, but I'm gonna be real with y'all. So Persona 5 was my first Persona game in general, right? So I wasn't used to like the whole turn-based RPG mechanics. So when I first played Persona 5, I played it on normal, and I could not for the life of me beat the first mini boss in Kamoshida's palace. I mean, it was a castle. Yeah, if that doesn't make it more clear that I just don't really like to stress in these games, like I just want to enjoy the story and that's it, and have fun watching the cast interact with each other, then yeah, that's just how I like to play these games. But yeah, that's it from me. Again, please let me know what you guys would like to see in the next Persona game. Just because, I mean, I could go on and on. I could talk all day, every day, 24/7 about Persona. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video, which will be a reaction video. Yeah, take care.
Without a sign, without grasping it, the real question to be asked: where have I